What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's world title fight in Tokyo, Japan at 118 pounds. It's a unification title fight between the WBC champion Junto Nakatani and the IBF world champion Ryosuke Nishida. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please remember to hit subscribe? Also, like this video, and right now, go down to the bottom of your screen, find that bell notification button, hit that so you can be notified every time I put something out that's new. Thank you. Alright guys, it's business as usual on my channel. If you've been following, we've been going all around the world documenting another busy week in the sport of boxing. We went to the UK for a couple fight features. We talked about the Joshua Kelly fight. Obviously, we covered Fabio Wardley versus Justis Huni. Then we went to the States to talk about the headliner in Norfolk, Virginia, another world title fight between the champion Keyshawn Davis and the challenger Edwin De Los Santos. But right now, we're in Japan once again to talk about a world title unification fight between Junto Nakatani and Ryosuke Nishida. Guys, in my opinion, Nakatani is one of the best fighters in the world. He's an undefeated knockout artist. I put him in the pound for pound rankings. I think right now the Ring Magazine does have him in the top 10. So whenever he fights, I'm tuning in. He's fighting another Japanese world champion. Guys, Japan has the 118-pound division on lockdown. We just covered another champion in that division last week with a spectacular performance, Takai, but this time we're going to talk about Nishida. This is a guy who only has a handful of pro fights. He's 10-0, 2 knockouts, isn't a knockout artist, goes about his business totally different than his opponent, Nakatani. He fought for a world title in his 8th pro fight. He won a close decision, and then he defended it once. He's a southpaw, just like Nakatani, and by far, without a doubt, this will be the biggest test of his career. So in this video, we are going to go and talk about how both fighters go about their business. We're going to talk about what they've been up to in their career, and stay tuned to the end of the video because that's when I'll be going over the Las Vegas odds. I'll also give you my prediction on telling you where to put your money. Right, guys, on paper, watch his highlights. If you're unaware of Junto Nakatani, this kid is special. When we think of Japan, when we think of boxing, the number one name that always comes to mind first is the monster, Naoya Inoue. But close behind, on his heels, in a division below, is Junto Nakatani. It has been spoken about by Turki Al-Sheikh and the Ring, how they have a gentleman's agreement to actually fight in 2026. But before that goes down, there's some business to be handled in 2025, and here we are. When I think about Nakatani, if you don't know about him, if you've never seen him, he's a boxer puncher. The thing that makes him special is he fights well at all ranges. He could fight you at distance with his jab. He's long for the division, but he also likes mixing it up in the pocket, and he has power. He has knockouts early, he has knockouts late, and as of recently, his last 4 have ended by stoppage. Now, when I also think about Nakatani, I don't just stop at what he does in the ring. You can't talk about him without talking about the magnificent job Rudy Hernandez has done, the Los Angeles guy who has molded Nakatani since he was 15 years old, and he's turned him into one of the greatest boxers of his era. He's been on record recently saying that Nakatani shouldn't have to wait, doesn't have to wait, and is ready right now to fight Naoya Inoue. We'll see if and when that fight goes down, and I'll be here waiting impatiently because I can't wait to see that fight. Right now, I want to take a closer look though at what's at stake this weekend in Tokyo, Japan. Guys, boxing returns to the land of the rising sun on ESPN Plus for a unified bantamweight title fight in Tokyo, Japan. It's taking place at the Ariake Coliseum. Undefeated WBC champion Junto Nakatani faces IBF champion Ryosuke Nishida, as the winner looks to either face another champion at 118 or move up to super bantamweight and face the undisputed champ Naoya Inoue. Fighting 3 times in 24, is entering his 2nd fight in 2025 after scoring a 3rd round knockout over David Cuellar in February. Afterward, the now famous call-out from Inoue occurred at the Japanese Boxing Annual Awards Ceremony, setting up the potential super fight for 2026 at the Tokyo Dome. Before any of that can happen though, both Nakatani and Inoue, like I already mentioned, do have to win a pair of fights to make their contest one of the biggest in boxing. Here to stop all of that is the undefeated Nishida, who won the IBF title in May 2024 when he beat Emmanuel Rodriguez. Nishida had one title defense, and that was a 7th round knockout over Anuchai Donsua in December. Now 6 months later, Nishida looks to add another belt to his resume, but will have to defeat Nakatani to do so. Guys, if you remember, Nishida was actually supposed to fight this March against Jose Reyes. That was his #1 mandatory contender, but that fight fell through. And why not put your hands up to unify? As boxing fans, as fight fans, we can't get enough of unification fights. I always talk about it. Hopefully we see more and more in all the divisions. We want to see champions fight champions. Right now, I do want to take a closer look at the underdog in this fight, the IBF World Champion, Ryosuke Nishida, and see what he's been up to. Guys, Nishida's 10-0 with 2 knockouts. Out of 1,166 fighters at 118 pounds, he's ranked #2. He's fought a total career of 92 pro rounds and carries into the ring a 20% career knockout to win ratio. He is the IBF World Bantamweight Champion. The 28-year-old Japanese fighter is a southpaw, standing at 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. He was born in Kashibanara, Japan, and resides in Osaka, Japan. We last saw him fight Donsua, 16-0, stopped him in the 7th. Rodriguez, 22-2, UD in the 12th. Jimenez, 21-3, UD in the 12th. Fioyam, 19-3, UD in the 12th. Palacio, 11-1, UD in the 10th. Guys, if you look at Nishida's upbringing, what you'll find about him is he started boxing at a young age through his teens, was living basically at the gym training, and then he turned his back on the sport to pursue a career post-college, and then came back to boxing and was literally fast-tracked to a world title shot. In his 8th fight, he not only got that opportunity, but he became a world champion. And now what sits in front of him, I don't want to really say spoiler because he's already a champion, but in terms of the unwritten plans of the future fights that are supposed to take place between Inoue and Junto, you know Nishida is sitting back wanting to ruin those future fight plans. We've seen it happen before. We just saw it last week. Fighters looking past fighters. Plant losing to Resendez. Charlo did his part, and now, you know, supposedly we're not going to see Plant versus Charlo. And in my opinion, in boxing, it's never good to look ahead. Right now, I do want to take a closer look at the knockout artist, Junto Nakatani. Guys, Junto's 30-0 with 23 knockouts out of 1,166 fighters at 118 pounds. He's ranked #1. He's fought a career total of 146 pro rounds. He carries into the ring a 77% career knockout to win ratio. He is the WBC World Bantamweight Champion. His adoring fans know him as Big Bang. The 27-year-old Japanese fighter is a 5'8" southpaw with a 68.5-inch reach. He was born in Inabe-gunmi, Japan, and resides in Sagamihara, Kanagawa, Japan. We last saw him fight Contreras, 28-0, knocked him out in the 3rd. Salapat, 76-1, stopped him in the 6th. Astrolabio, 19-4, stopped him in the 1st. Santiago, 28-3, stopped him in the 6th. RG Cortez, 25-3, UD in the 12th. And the fight before that, he fought Andrew Maloney and Ozzy, and he stopped him in the 12th in a viral knockout. Junto Nakatani really has it all. Talking about a toolbox, when you're talking about an arsenal, offensively and defensively. More importantly, when he smells blood in the water, he finishes the show. And even though he has a lot of early round stoppages, in my opinion, he doesn't rush his work. He's literally like an artist out there painting on canvas, and he takes what his opponent gives him, and sometimes if you're over aggressive, he's going to get you out of there. This is an interesting matchup between 2 undefeated Japanese world champions. Both of these guys are going to be southpaws. When I look at them side by side, a lot of the physical things cancel each other out. Nakatani will be a little bit taller, a little bit longer. Like I said, they're both undefeated, but the ring experience, the world title experience, the rounds, all of that is on Nakatani's side. He turned pro in 2015 compared to Nishida's 2019, and look at the records, 30-0, 10-0. Also styles, Nishida's not a one-punch guy, 20% career knockout to win ratio. He's not a guy that's gonna look to end the show, even though his last fight did end in stoppage. I fully expect Nakatani to put on an exceptional show. I think both Japanese guys are going to be tough. If you know anything about Japanese boxing, especially champions, especially if you tuned into the show, you've been watching the fights the last month, these guys are tough as nails. So that Japanese crowd in Tokyo is going to be electric. And I think early on it's going to be competitive, but the question is, how long for? Right now, I want to take a closer look at the Las Vegas odds. Guys, before I give you my prediction, I want to remind everybody, especially if you're new to the channel, I do live streams every day. Leading up to the weekend, we're building our parlays. I'm doing my money line bets, my prop bets, and method of victory bets. So right now, I'm going to give you my money line prediction. Let's pull our apps out and see where the money line is. Currently, guys, Nakatani is the favorite at $1.11. meaning you put 100 on Junto, you get your money back plus $11. The draw is 20-1. Nishida, the 10-0 undefeated champion, is a heavy underdog. He's a 725, meaning you put 100 on him to win on the money line. You get your money back plus 625. Guys, it's no secret I'm a fan of Nakatani. I think this is going to be close for a little bit. I think Nakatani is going to do what he wants. I fully expect Junto Nakatani to remain undefeated and continue on that trajectory for a super fight. I just think he has too many tools in the toolbox. I think the work that Rudy has done with him to square off some of the holes in his defense have been exceptional. I think this kid is going to be a tough out for the rest of his career for anybody at 18, 22, and who knows, maybe even 26, depending on how he fills out. Guys, this is not an echo chamber. Maybe some of you guys are Nishida fans. Maybe you know something that I don't know in the comment section below. At the end of the fight, are we going to see Nakatani's hand raised, or are we going to see Nishida's hand raised? What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's WBA interim heavyweight title fight in Ipswich, England, between the undefeated Fabio Wardley and the rising undefeated contender, the Aussie Justis Huni. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please remember to hit subscribe? Could you also like this video? And right now, go to the bottom of your screen, find the little bell, click that so you can be notified every time I put something out that's new. All right, guys, in Ipswich, England is a heavyweight fight that's interesting between two undefeated contenders, two guys who want to be world champions, and this is by far, in both of their careers, the biggest step up. You have the hometown kid, Fabio Wardley, the knockout artist. 17 of his 18 wins are by knockout. He does have one draw, and he ended up avenging that draw in his very next fight against Fraser Clark via first round stoppage. Huni is a guy with a storied amateur career. He's an Aussie. Doesn't have a lot of pro fights, but he'll actually have the more professional rounds boxed than his opponent Wardley due to their fight styles. One being a guy who has the one-punch knockout power in Wardley, and the other one having an overall more well-rounded boxing game. With Huni, he wins rounds, he can win on the scorecards, but he has pop as well. So in this video, we're going to be going over both guys' resumes. We're going to talk about both fighters' path to victories, what they do well. Also, stay tuned to the end of the video. That's where I'll be going over the Las Vegas odds. I'll also be giving you my prediction and telling you where to put your money. Guys, we have to remember, it was Jarrell Miller who was supposed to get this fight. He pulled out due to a so-called shoulder injury, and on short notice, guess who puts his hand up? The undefeated Aussie, Justis Huni. This guy comes from a great camp, great amateur pedigree, and everybody down here in Australia has been speaking that it's only a matter of time before Huni becomes a world champion in the heavyweight division. He'll get an opportunity to take a step in the right direction. Like I said, the winner will be crowned the WBA interim heavyweight champion, and Wardley thinks the same exact thing. He feels that the heavyweight division, it's only a matter of time, and his time is now, that it's him, not anyone else within England, and we know all the other UK heavyweights, that will reign on top of that division. Stylistically, it's an interesting matchup. Both guys are going to want to press the action forward. They do both fight on the front foot. When we're thinking about athleticism and using the entire ring as a heavyweight, you got to side with Huni. He does that really well. He'll engage with you, but he'll also win rounds. With Wardley, in terms of game plans, I don't want to call him one-dimensional if I'm studying his tape as his opponent, but he's looking to knock you out. So when you have an orthodox heavyweight fighter with one-punch knockout, 17 of his 18 wins by knockout, you could game plan for that, setting up your jab, entering the pocket by showing him different looks, circling away from that power. And with Wardley, he's just going to want to walk Huni onto something. He's going to want to set him up with a trap and hopefully walk him into a right hand. Right now, I want to take a closer look what's at stake this weekend in Ipswich, England. Guys, undefeated contenders Fabio Wardley and Justis Huni meet in Ipswich for the vacant WBA interim title, which will be a career-defining test for both men. The picturesque football grounds of Portman Road in Ipswich will serve as the battleground on Saturday, June 7th, as undefeated heavyweights Wardley and Huni collide for the vacant WBA interim title. Guys, this will be broadcasted live on DAZN. This is not only a major step up for both men, but also a crucial rung on the ladder toward world title contention. Guys, the narrative heading into this fight is as compelling as the clash itself. Two undefeated fighters with divergent strengths converging in a fight that could redefine the next phase of their careers. Also, the current landscape of the heavyweight division. Originally, Wardley was slated to face Jarrell Big Baby Miller, but with Miller forced to withdraw due to injury, Huni stepped in and in many ways upgraded the intrigue. I am one of these guys. I'll put my hand up and say I'd much rather see Huni versus Wardley than Big Baby, but that's just my opinion. Guys, right now in the comment section below, let me know your opinion on that. Would you rather see Huni or Miller? Moving forward, stylistically, the matchup might be even more fascinating. Australia's Justis Huni is just 26, but already widely touted as one of the most promising prospects in the division. With a background in amateur boxing and a skill set built around mobility, technique, and a high ring IQ, Huni brings an entirely different dynamic to the table. While not considered a knockout artist, Huni has notched notable wins over Andrew Tabiti and Kevin Lorena, two experienced opponents who tested his grit. Against Lorena in particular, Huni had to adapt to pressure and athleticism, and while it wasn't an easy night, it was a key learning experience. If you guys rewatch that fight, that's the one that a lot of Wardley fans have been leaning on all fight week regarding Huni being rocked, Huni not having a chin, etc. But like I always say, for a fighter to not have a chin, you better be telling me he got knocked out and lost the fight. And that's just not the case with Huni. Since then, he's returned to make more modest opposition, dispatching 3 straight opponents via second-round knockouts. But it's clear that Huni's strength lies in his technique and intelligence, not raw firepower. Wardley, on the other hand, 30 years old, enters the slightly more experienced and plenty of momentum. Explosive and unorthodox, he thrives on chaos and unpredictability. What he lacks in classical form, he makes up for timing, instincts, and finishing ability. His 2-fight saga with Frazer Clarke has defined his recent career. In the first bout, Clark's technical edge posed problems, but Wardley's pressure and awkward style kept the fight even. The result, a draw. But in the rematch, Wardley silenced his doubters with a first-round destruction of Clarke, putting the entire division on notice. And guys, this is the most recent performance in which a lot of Wardley's fans are saying they're using that, they're doing boxing mats, and they're saying because of that stoppage of Clarke, he should have no problem with Justis Huni. Only time will tell. That stoppage reminded the boxing world just how dangerous Wardley can be when he finds his rhythm. His power is real, and when combined with his athleticism and timing, it makes him one of the most dangerous fighters in the division. So guys, when I'm thinking about both guys' game plan, we already talked a little bit about it. It's going to be interesting to see how Huni deals with those first few rounds. I feel that Wardley's most dangerous game plan will be in the beginning of the fight. I think he's going to come out on fire. I think he's going to not want Huni to get into a rhythm, and he's going to want to see if the 26-year-old can make adjustments. That is going to be an interesting narrative, and we're going to find that right away as soon as the fight starts. Right now, let's take a look at the Aussie, see what Huni's been up to. All right, guys, Huni's 12-0 with 7 knockouts out of 1,570 heavyweights in the world. He's ranked number 10. He's fought a career total of 78 pro rounds, and he stands into the ring with a 58% career knockout to win ratio. His adoring fans know him as JPH, and the 26-year-old Aussie is a 6'4" orthodox fighter. He was born in Queensland, Australia, and resides in Brisbane. We last saw him fight Sean Podcater, 10-1, stopped him in the second. Rabuddy, 11-6, stopped him in the second. Pilcher, 9-0, stopped him in the second. Lorena, 30-2, UD in the 10th. Tabiti, 20-1, UD in the 10th. Guys, so when people talk about Justis Huni here down in Australia, they talk about him in the same wavelength as they talk about Jaya Pataya, who's also fighting this weekend, who's also world-class, one of the best fighters in his division in the world. These guys are ultra athletic, but ultra skilled in terms of what they could do in the boxing ring. And Huni always uses that against his advantage. He has been tested before, like we talked about, and as fight fans, we got to see him make adjustments, which sometimes you don't see at all in fighters' careers and at the heavyweight division, because a lot of guys always and have always relied on their power as they were climbing up the ranks. Maybe they never had to make adjustments until they have to, and it doesn't always play in their favor. With Huni, we've seen him actually do that, and I feel that's going to be a benefit for his mindset and his game plan going into fight night. Right now, let's look at his opponent, the undefeated Brit, Fabio Wardley. Guys, Wardley's 18-0-1 with 17 knockouts out of 1,570 heavyweights in the world. He is ranked number 8. He's fought a total of 62 pro rounds and carries into the ring a 94% career knockout to win ratio. The Brit is a 30-year-old orthodox fighter standing at 6'5". He was born in Ipswich, Suffolk, the UK. We last saw him fight Frazer Clarke the second time, 8-0-1, stopped him in the first. Fraser Clark the first time, 8-0, draw. Adele, 12-0, stopped him in the second. Coffey, 13-3, stopped him in the fourth. Gorman, 19-1, stopped him in the third. So guys, if you go to his box rec right now and look at his resume, even though he has more pro fights, he has less pro rounds. The reason for this is he's only gone the distance one time, and that was in the first Fraser Clark fight. He went all 12 rounds. That was a draw. You have to think that's going to be part of Huni's game plan. He's going to want to box Wardley. Huni's probably not going to want to play that game initially in the first few rounds in the middle of the ring. Wardley, more often than not, doesn't give his opponent the opportunity. With a good jab and good athleticism, Wardley doesn't have really a problem controlling where the fight goes. So I think early on, we're going to have to watch Huni make those adjustments like we already talked about. With Wardley, he's definitely going to be looking to pop with that jab and then have Huni walk in on his backhand. And I feel that could definitely happen. When I look at these guys side by side, 30 and 26, Huni's probably not even in his physical prime yet. You got to think Fabio Wardley is as finished as we're going to see him in terms of a well-polished heavyweight. They both kind of have holes in their game. When you look at Wardley's guard, even in the pocket, he sometimes keeps his guard down and takes shots that he shouldn't. And with Huni on his exiting and when he's engaging as well, sometimes he gets hit in situations that he shouldn't have to get hit as well. And you see this a lot with the heavyweights. These guys are big boys, especially fighters who've never either been dropped or knocked out. They feel they could take anyone's shot. And we know in boxing, that's true until you can't. So pay attention to that. Right now, I want to take a closer look at the Las Vegas odds. Guys, if you're checking this out today, it's Tuesday in Australia. It's Monday night in the States. Stay tuned to my channel. I do live streams every single day in which we break down the odds, but more importantly, we break down the method of victories and prop bets. For my prediction on this video, I'm only going to give you my money line, but stay tuned because there's some interesting props that I feel that we can make a lot of money. Let's pull out our betting apps. Down here in Australia, I use Sportsbet, and on the money line, Fabio Wardley is currently the favorite at $1.31, meaning $100 on Wardley to just win. You get your money back plus 31. The draw is 16-1, and Huni is a 380, meaning 100 on him, you get your money back plus 280. So Justis Huni isn't quite a 3-1 underdog. If you're a Fabio Wardley fan, if you're predicting him to win, and the money line 131 juice isn't enough, I would feel equally as comfortable taking Wardley to win by knockout, if this is the way you're leaning, because I feel that's going to be a popular bet, and I feel that these odds are going to shift the closer we get to the weekend. And if you're siding with Justis Huni in terms of his boxing style and his game plan, and you think he's going to win, and if you don't think the 281 is enough, check your books and see what winning a decision would pay, because I think that would pay a little bit more. When I'm thinking about putting my money on my money line prediction, I always, especially at the heavyweight division, it's always tough because these fights could end with one exchange. I feel though with Huni's boxing acumen, what he's seen so far, his trajectory and how he carries himself, his training, I'm leaning with Justis Huni. I think the underdog is a good bet. I think he's going to go into Ipswich and surprise a lot of people. I don't want to call it shocking, and I'm predicting as we get closer to the weekend, I bet you this money line is going to come closer and closer to a pick-em, maybe not quite a 50-50. But when I see a guy like Huni, what he presents, his skill set, the overall boxing game versus a big puncher in Wardley, and I see that the overall boxer is an underdog, I'm always going to take that bet regarding the stylistic matchup as well as the money coming back. Guys, this is not an echo chamber. In the comment section below, let me know who you think is going to win this fight, the hometown kid, Fabio Wardley, or the traveling Aussie, Justis Huni.